Hey guys, what's up? Today I'm going to be talking about all of the YA mental illness books that I own. It is the first week in October, which means it is National Mental Illness Awareness Week, and I'm pretty sure you guys know by now that mental illness is definitely something that I love talking about and I love raising awareness about because it has affected me personally and many other people that I know. And so knowing that there's a whole week dedicated to it just makes me so happy, and I want to do something really special. So I'm going to be doing a couple of videos. I can't guarantee one like every day because of school and trying to adjust to a lot of new things in my life, but I will be trying to get a couple videos up this week dedicated to mental illness in YA literature. So for my first video in this little series, I've decided to talk about the YA mental illness books that I own, whether I've read them or not. But yeah, let's get into it. The first book I want to talk about is It's Kind of a Funny Story by Ned Vizzini. I've actually read this book and have done a full spoiler-free review on it, which I will leave down below. But for those of you who do not know, It's Kind of a Funny Story revolves around a teenager named Craig who is dealing with a lot of stress from his personal life, his social life, and his academic life, and it eventually lands him into a psychiatric hospital because he stops eating and sleeping and he plans to commit suicide one night. And so it just really shows his journey through the psychiatric ward and finding himself and making friends, and it's really heartwarming. I really love this book. This book made me cry, it made me laugh. It was a book about depression that wasn't depressing, and I think that it's a really great book if you would like to learn more about psychiatric wards and mental illness patients. And then I have Speak by Laurie Halse Anderson. I read this book over the summer and rated it 4 out of 5 stars. This book is basically about a girl named Melinda who was a rape survivor, and it's been almost a year since her rapist attacked her, and she is starting a new school year and she has to cope with the secret of being raped and her depression and anxiety about it. And it is a very quick but meaningful read, and I really enjoyed it. There is a trigger warning for rape and depression and a bit of self-harm, so this book definitely does touch on topics that could be sensitive to some people, so keep that in mind. The next book is Every Last Word by Tamara Ireland Stone. I've talked about this book on my channel before. It has been on my TBR for so long and I still have not gotten around to reading it, but I definitely will sometime in this month. Every Last Word deals with a girl named Samantha, and she has anxiety and OCD, and it's just really been taking over her life until she meets a friend who introduces her to a poetry circle where she meets a boy, and the story picks up from there, and it sounds really nice, and I've been so excited to read this because everyone has been raving about what a great representation of mental illness it is, and I definitely want to see what that's all about. And then I have All the Bright Places by Jennifer Niven. This is yet another book that has been on my TBR for so long, but I have not read. I've been holding back on reading this because I've heard so many mixed reviews about what an accurate representation of mental illness it is, so that has definitely kind of put it on the bottom of my TBR, but I do want to get to it. This book is basically about two teenagers who meet at the top of a bell tower, and I do believe that they were planning to commit suicide, but they meet and they start talking and see how many things they have in common, and the story picks up from there, and it sounds like a really lovely love story. And then I have Under Rose-Tainted Skies by Louise Gorinal, and this is probably the mental illness book that I own that I am the most excited about reading. I am just so intrigued by the premise of it. It follows a girl named Nora who has such severe anxiety that it has kept her in her home for multiple years, and then a boy moves across the street and she starts to fall in love with him, but she convinces herself that she isn't good enough for him and he needs to find someone that is. And so it's basically her internal conflict between finding her own self-worth or letting the boy she loves go. And the final book is probably my favorite YA mental illness book that I have ever read, and it is The Perks of Being a Wallflower by Stephen Chbosky. I read this book at the beginning of the month and I absolutely loved it. It brought me to tears, it made me laugh, I felt all the feels, and it was amazing. The main focus wasn't mental illness, and I kind of like that because it showed how the mental illness weaved into Charlie's life with so many other aspects, his internal conflicts that affect his external conflicts, and it really does take you by surprise, and it took me by surprise personally because I feel like in this book they never come right out and say it. It's something that you have to put together in your mind, and that just makes it so much more real. And I absolutely recommend this book to every reader out there. It is a must-read classic. So guys, those are all of the mental illness YA books that I currently own. Currently is the key word there because I have a really big special surprise for a video coming up in the next few days. If you would like to see that, please comment, rate, subscribe, and all that other great stuff. I'll see you guys in another video. Bye!